I have got a box here from Amazon. I don't know what is in it, but I reckon it'll be a Hulk one. Let's open it up and find out how right I am. But I know that you people are here to see me fail at doing this. At a certain point, I started to think maybe it's not me. Maybe this entire system is broken. It is the mighty Thor. Even an immortal can die. This is volume 9 of the Thor Epic Collections, containing comics from 1977 through to 1979, which equates to 4 issues 260 through to 280, as well as 2 annuals and a bonus story for Marvel Preview. Is this the first time they have included speech bubbles on the art on the back? Have they ever done it with the art on the front? I didn't know and I didn't really care, but I do know that this cover image here has been digitally recoloured for another trade. So I don't know why they didn't use that version here. Classic Thor image there. I think you could get this on a t-shirt. I think I might have had that on a t-shirt once. Now, I have actually read the first few issues in here, mainly because this really brilliant woman is in them. Amanda the Enchanter, the best thing in Thor comics. But also because this story features the first appearance of a bad guy that is in an issue of Kazar. I read these all fairly recently as well. The other thing that these issues are known for is early work from Simon Waltonson. And Simon Waltonson obviously goes on to have a much more famous run on Thor about half a decade after this. And his art style here is really nothing like what he develops later on, but you can see moments of what is his style even early on. Stuff like this here, the kind of cosmic bubble sort of things. And I suppose the emphasis on sound effects. Something like this as well presents a clear view into what Simon Waltonson will blossom into. But for the most part, we do have him doing a fairly passable attempt at Sal Buscema style. That is John Buscema's brother. This story here, now that Amanda the Enchanter is gone, there's some ideas in it. And I think I like the ideas, but I don't know if they are really done that well. This is another panel I would point to as clearly being evidence of Simon Waltonson's eventual style. We have the big armour and the rather tiny people in it. This is the cover I think I would choose to put on the front. And it is another one that they have a recoloured version of from another trade paperback. I don't know why they didn't reuse the stuff like that for these epic collections. Do people like seeing early art from big artists back when they were kind of copying other artists? Especially when you have little hints of what is to come with them. Like this character here is very much in the vein of so much Simon Waltonson stuff. So this is our bad guy who appears in an issue of Kazar. He looks much bigger and much cooler in Kazar. And I don't actually like this story much. I think the Soul Eater, this bad guy, was better realised in Kazar. Here it's kind of just another generic threat for Thor to fight. And it just seems a lot less grander here. Not helped by the fact that it is Gimli who defeats it. You know, the character that is traditionally shown as a clumsy oaf. Most the backstory connected to the character that we get in here isn't really important in Kazar either. And then, to keep me hooked, we have Amanda the Enchanter. And I think there are two other characters in this picture, but I cannot notice them. Amanda the Enchanter is too dignified to be defeated by tripping over a sword. Baldric has been captured, and out comes a destroyer droid. Big fan of the destroyer droid, one of my favourite Thor bad guys. Maybe that is something I can do in this video. My top 10 Thor bad guys. Nah, I won't do that because I don't think Amanda the Enchanter counts as a bad guy. We are done with Simon Waltonson after this story. Here's another one. Wait, I need to explain this. This was the cover to a trade paperback called Thor, Gladiators and Guardians. This was a front cover and it was recoloured digitally. I think there are at least 6 covers in this Epic Collection that they have previously used as front covers and back covers of collected editions. And for those, back then, they were all recoloured. Digital colours and stuff. I don't get why they didn't reuse any of that. As I said, this cover has been recoloured like that. For Ragnarok, that was a trade paperback. This was the front cover of it. And this is a decent cover as well. You could have put this on the front. This is an annual written by Roy Sternman. It is a team-up with the Galactical Guardians. The original Galactical Guardians. The ones from the future. And we have this scene with the Galactical Guardians finding Thor frozen in ice. A la the Avengers discovering Captain America. They will be teaming up to fight Korvac Dallas and a bunch of characters from a Defenders annual. Not long after this, Korvac Dallas comes back in the Avengers for the famous Korvac Dallas story. This annual is usually included in collections of that, even though there isn't that much relevance. It just happens to share the same main bad guy. This is otherwise a standalone team-up story, and it's fine for that. Sorry, I was wrong. We have a couple more issues of Simon Waltonson. I thought he only did 260 to 266. But with Thor, in general, if Amanda the Enchanter isn't there, I'm not that much interested in Fairyland. I feel like this is a bad guy I should know, but I don't. Which means that they have never had a Andy book profile. Fill me in down below about the matchless might of Damocles. Looks a bit like Galactus Man. Thor versus Stilt-Man? What is going on here? How do I not know about this? Thor fighting Stilt-Man. I feel like this is the sort of thing that all the writers who joke about Stilt-Man wouldn't shut up about. That Stilt-Man somehow went up against Thor. Why aren't they making jokes about that? Okay, you have got Simon Waltonson drawing Blastoise. Put me down for this story. I was already pretty sold when it had Thor fighting Stilt-Man, but Simon Waltonson drawing Blastoise. I am up for that. I was afraid I'd turn the page and then he wouldn't be drawing it anymore, but no, he is doing the next issue with Blastoise. I want to read this. I really want to read this one. Blastoise is a very fun character. On one hand, you have stuff like this, which is great superhero brawls. And then there's that more recent stuff with him trying to be a king who rules through wisdom instead of might, when Blastoise flat out isn't very smart. Was that War of Kings? I think that was the only thing I liked in War of Kings. Here is another cover that was recoloured. Even how I know about all these covers being recoloured for trade paperbacks that I never owned. Looking like we have an Avengers guest appearance. And here is a big splash page of Thor flying. I would assume this is Simon Waltinson's farewell. Yes, we are back to Sal Buscema, and also Roger Thomas has taken over writing from Len Wein. I have not read this story. It is what was in the Ragnarok trade I mentioned before. Main thing I know about it is this ginger cameraman. He briefly becomes Thor. I think it's all part of one of Tom Hiddleston's mad schemes. He empowers the ginger nut to become as strong as Thor with a magic belt and magic gloves. And the redhead is in love with Steve. This guy, the redhead Thor, he does come back in the 90s. I don't think he has appeared since. But Roger Thomas gets back to him in his 90s run with MCYI Man. Actually, I think that one is the next Thor Epic Collection we are getting. Baldric dies, which is the first step towards Ragnarok. There's Cate Blanchett. Thor Fairyland. And we get to Annual 7, which is the start. We are starting the New Gods saga. There was this disgustingly long Thor story with the New Gods. It begins here with Roger Thomas. He won't finish the story. Marky Mark G and Daniel LaRusso will. The overall premise was to bring Jack Quimby's New Gods and definitively make them part of the Marvel Universe. Some people are very against that, but I think it could be done well, and Roger Thomas doesn't really do it well. In fact, Roger Thomas seems to want to demystify the New Gods characters and make them less powerful and more ordinary. A good example is Big Barda, who he insists is only an illusionist. So we have this here and not the rest of the New God saga. I suppose the annual did come out before the story started in the ongoing, but it seems a bit unfortunate that they will now do an epic collection of that without this part. This issue of Thor as him fights Superman, and it's actually drawn by an artist primarily known for Superman. I have this issue. I got it by mistake because I thought Marky Mark G wrote it, but it's Roger Thomas. The next two issues after this are Marky Mark G, but they're not in this epic collection, and I have already reviewed them. And my point with bringing that up is that this is a comic I could review this week, but I don't know if I want to because it's just a lot of meh. Oh, and Superman, he goes on to be in New Thunderbirds. And then he joins the team in Jeff Parkman's run. And here is Marvel Preview presents Thor, the Mighty, all new Blood Quest. The power and the majesty of the greatest warrior of all. Yeah, it's black and white Thor shit. Never read it. Might be good, might be bad. One thing's for sure, definitely long. And we have our bonuses, which include 2 editorials by Roger Thomas, and then outside, and another advertisement, and not a single one of those covers for ad trade paperback collections. I didn't complain too much in this video, and for an Epic Collection that is pretty good. There were a few things in here that I saw where I wanted to read the comics, so I'll give this 7 thumbs up.